Today I'm having a full circle moment. I'm on the beach, as you can probably see. I'm in Malibu, California right now, which is the same place I was 10 years ago, except the difference was at the time I was lost, confused, fearful for what the future would hold. By the way, I'm using the mic on my phone because my battery died on my audio recorder and I'm having every technical issue known to man. So this is the audible and I'm gonna make this work. To give you some context, I had moved to LA on a whim. I packed everything I owned in my car and I drove down thinking that I could easily find an apartment. I was wrong. I ended up living out of my car for a brief period of time. I would shower at the gym and I would go to work. I would sleep by Santa Monica Beach so that I could crack the window and hear the little bit of the ocean, and it was actually not too bad and pretty liberating to know that I could do that and not die. I eventually found a roommate and he's one of my good friends to this day, and so silver lining. I was working at Chase Bank and started a business with a friend. I was just planning to kind of bring my laptop, try to run the business and answer calls until we made enough money and I could quit the bank job. I eventually did, but things were so tight that I was barely getting by. My girl, now fiance, kind of lived with me while she was finishing school, and we would live off of her allowance for food and stuff, which was like $200 or $250 a month. So safe to say things were tight. It was a scary time for me because I knew any bad month we had in the business meant I might not be able to pay my rent. So that wasn't a very fun feeling, but I pushed forward. So some context to how I ended up there was part of why I moved down to LA was to pursue acting. I didn't have any experience doing it. I didn't know anyone that did it, so I didn't know how it was gonna go. I didn't have a clue where to start. It was a pretty confusing thing. And at the time, even just 10 years ago, there was a lot less information on the internet. You learn how to do most things now through social media or YouTube or what have you, and there wasn't as much of it, I can promise you that. I started looking up where other actors got their start, and I kept finding out that they'd be models. So Channing Tatum was like blowing up at the time, or that was kind of like his rise, and I saw that he was a model. Ashton Kutcher started as a model, so I thought, hell, I'll do that. I went to the Chase Bank bathroom that I worked in, and I took some digital photos on a shitty digital camera and printed those up at CVS, I think, or Walgreens at the time. And that's what I brought in, which was hilarious, and they, you were practically laughed out of the room because you were so unprofessional. I was discouraged, but didn't have the time or money at the time to take acting classes. Stress and confusion of it all, kind of mixed with the fear of the business failing, made for some definitely scary times. The icing to this all was that my dad passed away unexpectedly 6 months into me living in LA. I would come to the beach to unwind, de-stress, and often, but on this specific day, my girl and I decided that we would go a bit further up the coast into Malibu and ended up at this beach. We were enjoying our time. We had a nice day. It was a nice little getaway, but we still both kind of had that same feeling, lost, confused, worried about the future. Well, fast forward to today, I own a few businesses. I started painting and I've been in a couple different galleries and things, and crazy that even happened. I've been on multiple shows, commercials, and been acting for 6-7 years now. I think the moral of this all is that you just need to keep pushing, putting one foot in front of the other. A big lesson that I've learned is life is gonna throw you more curveballs than you can even imagine, and you're gonna get a lot less help in life than you think. You're gonna need to learn to be resourceful on your own. And that's not a bad thing. It teaches you a lot. It teaches you how to pick a goal, a pursuit, anything, and figure out what steps do I need to take to get there, and who do I need to talk to, and what skill do I need to learn. And it teaches you to be resourceful when in the past maybe you thought that somebody was going to give you a handout, or you would stumble on some piece of information that would change your life. And a lot of it is baby steps and working towards a goal that takes time. But once you learn how to make things happen on your own, it becomes a skill. It becomes a superpower. Because again, you can identify a goal, figure out what steps you're gonna need to take to get there, and then find a way to make each one of those steps happen to achieve the goal. The real kicker in all this, despite being able to achieve many of the goals I wanted to, is the yearning for more and the concern and wonder of how the future will play out is still there. You would think it'd be gone 10 years later, but it's not. I think it's, the corny saying, you need to learn to have fun on the journey. I don't think there's any destination anyone gets to where they feel like, all right, my job is done. You're always going to want more. You're always going to want to grow. I think that's just human nature. With that comes confusion. With that comes stress. With that comes trying to figure things out that you may not know or understand yet, or just wondering how life is going to play out. Very grateful for where I am now, but I'm also drowning in the desires to create. I picked up new hobbies now, filmmaking, YouTube, painting. All of these things take a ton of time. Again, that yearning to create and yearning to do, I think, is just human nature, and more so for some than maybe others, but I'm definitely cursed with it. So anyway, all those things just mentioned are going to be a huge part of the next 10 years. And I'm excited to see what I can get done and what I'll talk about on the next video at this beach in 10 years from now. Cheers to creating and cheers to the journey, and good night.